Yeah.
Is that Arabic? Hey everybody, welcome back to our Evil Recap. What's going on? I'm Larice. This is Justin. And we are here to talk about Evil Episode 3. F is for fire. What do you think they're spelling out?
Well, I've seen a lot of theories online about what F is for fire, and all the other episodes have those. But I think so far it's related to the railways in New York City.
All right, cool.
Because that's what everybody else says, and that's what somebody in our group chat says. And I looked it up, and it turns out it's true.
So it's the F train then?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I want hanging out on the F train. So we start off with the pop book of terrifying things, and we hear Mission District by the Black Angels. It seems to play every time Kristen is like wanting sexy time. That's her sexy time cue song. That seems very out of character for her. We're watching the beginning of the episode. Well, the pop-up is a child. It's this girl on the ground. It's all fire. This is an audio pop-up. When you pull it, it says, "Help!" That's pretty creepy. But I like how it's an audio file now. We see next someone having sex, and there's fire.
That confused me right off the bat.
Kristen's having sexy time dreams, but then it flashes back to Kristen, and then it cuts to David putting together the sigil map and showing it to the nun.
Which I think was a weird transition. Straight from sex time to nun stuff.
Yeah, it went from sexy time to a priest and a nun looking at a demon sigil map. Yeah, David is explaining to her about all these different sigils, and first she's like, "You shouldn't have this."
It almost seems like she was going to stop helping him when she realized he had that.
She wasn't happy about that.
No.
But Leland had the same thing. They can't figure out what it is. She says they're not Greek. She doesn't recognize the alphabet.
I expected her to say that one of them was Aramaic. When she said that they were different letters of different alphabets, I was like, oh, okay. He's like a cipher type of person, And
he mentions about the fertility clinic.
We have to put up a picture of her face when he says that.
She's very smart because she's able to figure out these are actual letters. It spells out Mathilda Mowbray, right? That whole connection is very weird, the timing of it all.
I totally agree. I didn't think that she would be able to interpret anything from those letters. But then again, I never can predict what happens in the show.
No, and this sends them to the house. It turns out these people were trying to contact the church.
Yeah, because in the next scene, they're like, "We contacted you 2 months ago. You must have a big backlog."
Oh, thank God you're finally here. We've been trying to call you forever. It's like, wait a minute, what? Well, this is news to us. They didn't know. Yeah, we've been backlogged.
Because they just go with the flow and pretend like they got the info,
Yeah, there is the concern of the fertility clinic. This is their foster parents. She's being raised in basically both faiths, the wife says, Islam and Catholicism. They want to adopt Mathilda, but she has these issues. There's been 3 different fires that she claims she hasn't started.
I told myself, she's too cute to be an arsonist.
Yeah. Well, it might not be her. We learn later on. Kristen goes to talk to her. There's also some tension between the husband and wife over the whole therapist issue. And there's definitely a very intentional tension there. But we did learn the mother got arrested for setting her room on fire. And Mathilda was distraught.
At least she said she was. I think she set the fire to frame the mother.
I don't know if she framed her, but the mother took the fall either way. It's very possible the mother took the fall because she didn't want Mathilda to get in trouble. This whole issue comes up with the tea set. I don't understand why later on Kristen throws this thing away.
Yeah, I mean, you bought her that tea set, so I don't know why you're all freaked out about it.
Maybe she was somehow connected to this fire-headed man, the Jinn.
I don't know. They didn't explain it.
Well, the 2 girls are the same age, and I think that creeps her out a little bit. Because not only are they both the same age, they both came from the same weird-ass, creepy fertility clinic. Producing little demon children.
Forgive me for saying this, but Mathilda doesn't really seem evil, though.
And
Lexus doesn't seem evil either.
And neither does Lexus. But are they maybe developing into something.
Well, if you think about it, the boy that tried to drown his sister in the first season, he was
Flat out evil.
he was almost, yes. So why haven't they become him innocent?
Well, remember, this is just a theory. They're trying to connect everything. When Kristen asked Mathilda, tell me what's happening, she says there's a man that is visiting me who's been following me since I'm a child. But she hesitates at first, and she looks at the closet. She genuinely seems scared when she looked at the closet. Like,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
someone in there is gonna, I can't tell you because someone's watching me, something might hear me. But she says, if I tell you something, if I tell you the truth, something bad will happen. Oh, she also says to you, will something bad happen to you? And she says no. So it's not to her. Someone else is in danger. Then she does get up and look at the closet, and she peeks in, and then she closes it, and then she comes back.
Well, she also says, maybe you'll feel better if you tell me anyway.
When Kristen finishes talking to Hilda, she comes back. She says she thinks it could be denial about her pyromania. That's when Ben says her mom might have gotten arrested for something that she did. Maybe she's the source of all the fires. Kristen tells them she's blaming this firehead man for starting all the fires. Then after this whole scene, Kristen goes home and she gets rid of this tea set. It's very weird.
Don't get me wrong, she does have the right to go through her children's things. It really startled me that when she threw it away, it just ended up back where it originally was. And I was like, did Lexus go back and pick it up out of the trash?
They had questioned, why is mom being crazy? Well, it's because dad is gone. So dad is supposed to be gone no more than a month. What's taking him so long? He's not back yet. So Lynn says, yeah, I think business isn't going well.
Yeah, so what does that mean, do you think?
I have no idea.
I mean, they have to come up with some sort of reason, don't you think?
He's giving tours to people up Mount Everest. So he's like a tour guide climber.
At the end of the last season, they mentioned that he wasn't going to be the guide. He was just going to set it up. So how long does it take to set up a thing like that? And why is he still gone? I mean, they have to come up with some sort of legitimate thing for him. I mean, is he seeing another woman?
That's what I want to know about. But remember, she was also not happy that he was gone for so long before. And then who has come to visit Dr. Boggs? It's Cheryl. What is she doing?
Oh, my God.
What is she doing?
She knew that Dr. Boggs was Kristen's therapist, and she wanted to go there and probe him for information. Yeah.
Was that her main agenda? Was to probe him? I know she mentioned.
Yes. She told him that, oh, please tell me if you have the same experiences with your other patients.
I think she genuinely wants to see her granddaughters again. But there's something up.
I think in some ways, Cheryl's always been a manipulative psychopath.
Maybe?
The people in the comments can disagree with me if they want, but that's just what I think. Remember when Cheryl met Leland in the first season, and he was talking about kindness is hypocrisy, and my dad got in a car accident? She knew who he was.
So then it cuts back to David, Kristen, and Ben. They go back and they talk to the couple about Mathilda. When they go back, they discovered that they have this penguin, this plush penguin, and there's a nanny cam, and they show the footage of Mathilda while she's sleeping.
That scared me half to death.
So she's talking and saying, no, I don't want to do this. It's her closet again. It seemingly lights itself on fire. But then we see Ben and we see his sister. We haven't seen her in a while. He's looking at all these different demons, and they're reminded of a story that their mom told them when they were younger about this Jinn. And they look it up, and sure enough, it's this Jinn, the most powerful Jinn.
It wasn't called a Jinn within the Muslim religion. It was called something else.
Yeah, Afrit. When I looked up Jinn, it's a type of genie. So I just wonder if that had to do with the lamp that we saw. But this isn't the type of genie that pops out of a lamp.
Is it possible that this Jinn creature could be responsible for the apocalyptic thing that David is seeing for the future event?
It would appear to be a little bit sinister and mischievous. It could just be mischievous.
It seems like this demon or this Jinn is just a nuisance because it's like hanging out.
There's a little bit of back and forth in this next scene between Kristen mentioning the difference between Islam and demons are real, jinns are not. Ben is an atheist. He doesn't believe in any of it. David says anything that is not of God is evil.
And I love this scene because of Ben, where he's like, oh, David doesn't believe in jinn because they're not in the Bible. And so he says that in such a snarky way. And
Yeah, a little passive aggressive. But what they find in this science kit, Ben finds brake fluid and chlorine, which is enough to set, I guess, the place on fire. Mathilda admits, yeah, I like fire. Okay, all right, well, we're getting somewhere, right? That's when she says the demon or this entity wants to grow. She says she's not lying because the parents are like, ha ha ha, you have a monster that's making you blow things up, right?
Why did they think she was lying? Because they saw the footage.
Ah!
Yeah.
Is that Arabic?
And it is not her voice. It is not, it is a grown-up voice talking in Arabic, and none of them react. And Ben says, "Is that Arabic?"
In my opinion, it's a milquetoast reaction. It's like a
Milquetoast.
milquetoast, yeah.
More like a milk dud. That's a milk dud reaction. Oh, the child is obviously possessed because she's talking in this weird voice and it's Arabic. And they say that she's learning Islam, but they didn't necessarily say she's learning Arabic. And being that they're her foster parents, she wasn't exposed to it long enough.
A fire will burn whoever's close.
Yeah.
And then jump to one of you.
And that's when she was touching Kristen's hand, right? When she said this.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what allowed the jinn to pass to Kristen.
It's still in Mathilda. How can it be?
Unless there's more than one, I'm not sure.
Kind of checking her out a little bit, like, let me try this body for a little bit, you know, testing.
Is that what's causing Kristen to be so crazy?
Before this happened, she was already having her little horny dreams, so... It may have amplified it, though. This may have amplified it. And then we have her driving in her car. Again, this is a weird transition, because it goes from that happening to nothing. They don't go out of the room and react or discuss. It just cuts to her driving in her car.
I think the weird transition might have something to do with the COVID protocols.
Maybe. But it does cut to her driving. I thought for sure she was just going to not be pay attention and then get into an accident. That's what I was worried about.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't have been the only one that was worried she was going to get in an accident. I was like, oh man, she's going to hit someone or she's going to get in an accident.
Well, what I thought was going to happen is that man next to her in the car.
Who is that?
I thought he was going to set on fire.
Yes. He looks over at her, but the slow nod turn. Yeah, that's so weird. But then there's these ladies on the corner. And this dude appears, Firehead, the Jinn. And it looks like he's like sending fire. What does he do? Like he puts his fingers up to his his mouth and blows fire.
No, I thought he was going to murder them, honestly. I really did.
I thought he was going to do something bad. Yeah, so then we have a good look at him for the first time, which you don't like him very much.
Oh my God, they could have done so much better with that. I mean, low effects. I expect more from Evil. Come on.
I don't know what else they could do when your head is on fire other than have your head literally on fire. Put in the green screen fire effect on your head with some type of weird, creepy face.
They did good with like the mouth part, but with the head, it was just like they might have taken a tiki torch and just put it on top of his head.
She still has a rubber band on her wrist.
Yeah, I thought that was strange.
It's to make sure she's awake and not dreaming. The light turns green and she literally says, "What the fuck?" Which I love.
I love that they're able to curse now. I love that they have more creative freedom. It's really awesome to see that.
And then we cut to Ben, and he's about to get visited again by his
succubus, I think.
Yeah, speaking of succubus.
I don't understand why his iPhone didn't record him talking.
Because I think it was a dream.
Okay, so nothing that he said got recorded, so you think that didn't happen?
Yeah, I think it's 100% a dream. Because otherwise the iPhone would have picked it up. Your dreams are like a small fraction of insight into what goes on inside your subconscious. Like little things that get suggested that you don't really think about fall into your subconscious without you even realizing it, and you dream about it. So it is very possible Leland's suggestion was enough to prompt this creature in his dreams, this reoccurring nightmare now.
as I was saying in one of the earlier episodes that we did, I think that he was ordered by the Leland was ordered by the devil to on the Catholic Church. And so what if by telling Ben he was going to have a dream and he was going to be visited, that was Leland using the power of the devil to order a demon to visit Ben?
I'm open to that theory. It's very possible. She also mentions his friends make fun of the religion. She mentions they don't treat you with respect. Ben is an atheist. He says, I don't have a religion, so this doesn't really matter.
And I don't get why he is so focused on recording the demon when he hasn't yet told David what's going on.
He might be a little bit embarrassed because this demon is risque. She takes out her retainer for a reason.
Oh my God, I was covering myself when that happened.
Oh no, thankfully he woke up. I was like, hurry up and wake up, wake up, wake up. None of it was on his phone.
One continuity error I noticed after he woke up from her doing that thing, whatever she was doing, the app he was using is not an iPhone app. So it looks like this, but if you notice, his didn't.
He was using an Android prop. That's what was going on. So then we have it cut back to Cheryl. She's rehearsing what she's going to say to Kristen with the therapist. I'm so sorry. Your relationship is important to me. He tells her, is there someone that could bring the two of you guys together? Of course, it's the grandkids.
Do we believe she's genuine? What do you think about that? Do you think she's actually wants to get back with Kristen, or do you think this is all just a sham?
I find it weird that she went right to Lexi out of all the daughters.
They had that little thing last season where they said, never snitch. I think she asked her to fake sick and pretend that she needed to go home.
But there is some other type of motivation. There seems to be some other type of agenda. I'm not sure what it is yet, because not all of her emotions seem genuine.
Oh no, she's Leland 2.0.
After this, it cuts to the scene and they're talking to the couple about a potential exorcism at this point, because now they've heard the child say weird things in Arabic. In the same scene, while David and Ben are arguing over whether it's going to be an Islamic or a Christian exorcism, Kristen gets a call, and then we're taken to the house where she finds Cheryl.
I don't know what Cheryl's motive is. I think that she wants to get back to the granddaughters, but as far as Kristen goes, I think it's all an act.
She just kind of mentions as an afterthought that her and Leland aren't together anymore. Kristen was right about him. She had his number. That's what she said specifically. But she does lay it on thick. I can't live without my family. And then she starts crying and she hugs her. I thought for a second after she hugged her that it was going to show her face being like,
you might think I'm being too speculative when I'm saying what I'm about to say, but I think that Cheryl is going to be responsible for the death of Leland later in this season.
I hope so. I really hope so. I think it'd be great, but will she replace him? That's the question. Is she losing?
Oh my God, that would be awesome.
Then we cut to Ben, and he's like, I'm going to get this on film. So he actually is recording it on his camera phone at this point. Now, does that an Apple?
He actually said, I think that one looks like an Apple phone because he puts one on the stairs, on the spiral stairs.
Yep.
And then he puts one over the bed because he wants to capture the demon coming and going from his loft.
4K. Catch him in 4K. And then it cuts to Kristen and she looks out the window and it's her horny music. It shows like fire on one side of her and then like a male body on another and people having sex over there. And then she wakes up and is like, I'm gonna go out.
I really had a hard time watching that scene. From an ethical standpoint, I don't see how she could do that.
I mean, people have affairs all the time, especially if their spouse is away. It's just she seems very wholesome and she doesn't seem like the type of person to do that. She seems devoted to her husband. She was a little flirty with David last season, though. She goes to this bar, really decked out. It's the middle of the night. She starts chatting up with this guy. She has some very clear intentions, but she's looking at her phone and she's looking at the fireman. And this guy approaches and they make a little bit of small talk. And the whole conversation to me is awkward.
And she says, I'm going to the bathroom to freshen up. And then she heads out the exit. I think they spent way too much time on that. Yeah, because it didn't move the story forward at all.
No, actually, these episodes can be very fast-paced at times. and there's so much to process.
Yeah.
This scene seemed to drag quite a bit, especially their small talk. You're the hottest girl in here. Well, there aren't that many people in there. Next time. Oh, and then she feels the fireman blowing on her neck. The fireman's in the back of her car.
Oh, did he blow on her neck?
She felt something on the back of her neck, and it was heat.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, she has an alien implant. No, we're not going to get into that, are we? Because I'm going to my X-Files place. The guy's in the back there was heat on the back of her neck. He's got fangs.
Mm-hmm.
You really get a close-up picture of him here. And then she goes to see the psychiatrist about this, and he says, no, you need to come in more often, twice a week. This is not normal. He knows what a Jinn is, and no, you shouldn't be seeing it. This is not normal. You need to come in. She says to the psychiatrist, Andy's still out of town. She mentions that she was in a bar with some guy, and of course this raises a few questions. Eventually it comes out, she says that her mom, Cheryl, apologized, and suddenly he makes the connection.
Notice that he doesn't tell Kristen what's going on.
No, I guess that might violate the confidentiality.
Well, if the other patient lies to him about her identity, I think that would pierce it, though.
Well, maybe he was waiting for confirmation because he actually did a search for her. He tells the receptionist he wants Cheryl to come in.
I really think that it would have been better for him to bring both of them in at the same time.
And then we have the exorcism. So we're doing a Muslim and a Christian exorcism. Yeah. The husband isn't happy about it, and when she says that it's a Jinn, he literally says Aladdin. A Muslim exorcism is more detailed than a Catholic one, according to the sheet. They both decide to work together.
Mm-hmm. Which I thought was a little weird myself.
Yeah, they don't. The two of them look at each other like, "Oh, I gotta work with him. I gotta work with him." I can't believe the priest actually calls Islam mythology. We get to the exorcism. It's creepy as heck. This is really good, and the girl is phenomenal. She's chanting in Arabic and in Latin. Yeah. And it says Adnan is gone. So Adnan is the father of a group of Ishmaelite Arabs who inhabited West and North Arabia.
So he wasn't specifically referring to the creature.
He was referring to this ancestor. Adnan is gone. They ask who she is. Who are you? Dan. Oh, it's Lieutenant Dan. Oh, okay. Who the hell is Dan? Dan the fireman, the head of fire. And then it starts mimicking the child.
Help me! Yeah.
The sheik says, no, that's a trick. I can bring down hellfire. What does that mean? That means this is more than just a GD, or it's more sinister.
See, to me, that made me think that it was a malevolent demon spirit.
She says, I'm coming for you, to Kristen.
Looking at Kristen, yes, oh my God.
The Father below will embrace you in his warm hellfire. Yeah, Kristen's like, I'm out of here. And her eyes follow her as she leaves. Wow, the girl did a really good job.
Who was that actress that played character in this episode?
Mathilda. Her real name is Mathilda. Yeah, her real name is Mathilda. It doesn't have the H in it. After this whole exorcism, we cut to Cheryl meeting with Dr. Boggs. You have been lying to me, Cheryl. And her reaction is just like, I'm so sorry. No.
That sounds too rehearsed.
Crying. Who would do that? I would just be like, all right, here's what happened. You don't need to break down like that.
Yes.
Please. And then she hugs him. I noticed this. It's very awkward the way she hugs him.
She hugs his waist.
She hugs not his even torso. So yeah. What? That she's begging and pleading, and he's like, Oh, okay, I'll find you a better therapist. And
he doesn't know what to do, really.
Very weird. I don't. You guys can please comment below and tell us what you think, because I would love to hear your theories. So then it cuts back. The child appears to be passed out at this point, and they ask, is it finished? And then the sheik goes in to talk to her. I'm sorry. And they believe this is genuine, but you know what? That also could have been
the demon.
The Jinn or demon. I just want, is it a Jinn or demon? Because it's unclear.
It's probably both. I thought it was weird that they were doing the scene in the living room when most of the exorcisms on this show are done in a closed space.
But then it cuts to Kristen going to her children, and that's when she discovers the tea set.
How do you think it returned? Do you think Lexi went to the trash can and picked it up out of there?
I think they were suspicious. Why are you taking out the trash in the middle of the day when there's no trash. It's not trash day.
So do you think they went out there and grabbed the tea set out of the thing?
That would be a logical explanation. Whether or not there's some other supernatural explanation, we don't know. And then she just takes off her clothes all of a sudden. She goes back to her bedroom and puts on this like sexy dress, and that's when she starts doing the thing where she's
hey, how you doing?
she's like rehearsing her pickup game. She's ready this time. She's pounding those little margaritas, those little cans that she has. The song is back. The Mission District.
So we both think that it's there to emphasize her horniness.
Yeah, and the fire. There's a fire inside her. She's ready to go until she sees the man outside.
Which I thought was genuinely stupid.
She's pretty horrified by it. She drops her bag and then she downs some pills with the margarita, which is not good. And she just lies down and goes to sleep in her uncomfortable clothes.
Yeah, I thought that was weird.
And then it pans to Mathilda seemingly setting the trash on fire.
Wait a second, though. Does that mean that the exorcism didn't work?
It may or may not have, because remember, she does like fire. She did admit that she liked fire.
Do you think we're most likely going to see her again, or do you think this is just a one-off?
I think it's a one-off, but I don't know how this thing has somehow transitioned itself into Kristen if it's still in her. Well, if I'm coming for you is what it said, and earlier in the episode it was looking for someone new, right?
Yeah.
Why is she still looking at the fire? Why is Mathilda still sitting there looking at the fire?
What if the Jinn was never causing fires? What if it was her all along? What if whoever tampered with the egg at RSM Fertility gave her some kind of special ability or something? It's possible.
That's very possible. That's a very interesting theory.
And also, this is another what-if situation. What if she was the one controlling the Jinn monster and telling it where to go, which is why she said, it's coming for you.
She says, I'm coming for you. Yeah, so the demon is coming for Kristen.
Ben needs to tell somebody about the freaking demon he's saying in his sleep.
I have a feeling it's going to come out in passing. He might not believe it to be anything other than a dream. So wrapping this up, we're really, really glad you guys watched us and you're enjoying this. And we always like to hear your theories. So please leave a comment down below. Hit that like button because it helps us. Leave that comment. Subscribe with that notification bell on. You can follow me on Twitter. You can join our evil discussion group where we like to chat about all this stuff. I'll leave a link down below for that. Anything else you want to add?
Full disclosure, though, for our audience. I had a little bit of a twitch tonight, which is why you saw my head out of frame. So I'm perfectly fine. Everything's fine. You don't have to worry about me. I'm good. I was going out of the frame to handle the twitch to get it back into focus.
Gotcha. Thanks again, guys, and we will see you next week.
أي شخص قريب منها.
Is that Arabic?
Bruh.